I think a lot of what we're hearing here is that the business of board gaming is business, and so it's going to be similar to other business, right? So, yes, Jen?
So I came from startups and software, and I would say that because I've been fully indoctrinated into that world, I do not like to make decisions like that world because it is contrary in most cases of doing things creative and putting out good products. And I used to be a consultant on how to make good software products, and I can tell you it's really hard if you're just thinking about how do I grow the number of people and how do I get venture capital, because you're not making good decisions based on what you're making. And I would almost guarantee that almost everybody in this room is here because they want to make something. And if you're focused on making something really good, then forget about a management structure and building and thinking about how many people. Yeah.
A thing that you just said a buzzword that I'm like, oh shit, we have not talked about that. And I think it's very true. And correct me if I'm wrong, but one thing that is remarkably absent in the board gaming industry is venture capital. One thing that is remarkably absent is outside investors. Like, I'm not saying they don't happen, but like compared to other businesses and other industries, this is one of the reasons that Kickstarter is so big for board game companies is that they're like, it's not board game companies that get investors. That's an uncommon thing. That is not the common thing. And as a result, you need to make money somehow. So going to Kickstarter with our products. And so like. One thing that is interesting in the industry is not as many decisions are made whether like, well, we got to keep in mind our investors. It's that same sort of thing is done with clients or with customers, both for good and bad reasons, or good and bad effects.
Right,
so,
but I'm going to be sorry, Andy.
Go on. All right.
I'm going to be the person that I always am and everybody hates in the room. But I think the big problem with that, and look, I love Kickstarter, even though I say negative things sometimes, because I think people need to be realistic about Kickstarter. And if there are a bunch of creatives in the room that want to make a creative thing, and they can easily get this investment capital without having to go through the traditional methods of pitching to an investor and having that investor vet them completely and make sure your business plan is sound. Most people who are creatives do not go to business school and don't understand making business plans and having an actual plan, the key word in that. Go to Kickstarter, get all this money, do the creative thing, and then realize, oh shit, I'm not a businessman. And then suddenly they have this money and they spend it in
or they don't have
it. Yeah, well, they don't have it anymore because they're spending it in ways they think they need to get to the product being made, and they don't think about any of the other business stuff afterwards, and then it doesn't actually go anywhere, and they actually lose money. And this happens, there are more game Kickstarters that fail and lose the creative, everything they own in life, than the ones that succeed.
So, good point. It's like hitting the lottery and not having a plan for it. Okay, so I want to pivot to something that's going to be an individual question to each of you, right? What is your bottleneck? What is your limiting point? What is keeping your company from doing more than it's doing now? Lots of thought.
Fine.
I mean, we're doing what we want to do.
Shitty products.
Goddamn designers.
No, James writes more products than we should publish, so that's a problem.
What do you mean should publish?
Well, for our business model, for our process, for the whole things that should be in our product line. When I go to Toy Fair and I'm like, here's our line.
So you're talking about the fact that there's a certain amount of startup costs to have a product, and they're not all going to be hits? Is that what you mean?
There's also, you need to test market. You need to know, like this, if we're going to publish a product, how many customers do we have for it? So for this, there's a lot.
So every product takes some time and support and effort, and you can't do that for 1,000 different products at the same time. Right. No, that's a good point.
But
you said time. Why did you say time? I mean,
well,
obviously it's limited, but
for us, our lack of time, I guess, is a bottleneck because we have our company is very unique because it started off as a creative studio of many game designers, and very recently, 2 years or so, changed over into being a publisher. And so we are so used to pumping out game ideas and licensing them out to various companies to publish, and now we're publishing those ourselves. And so adjusting that to our creative schedule to what is actually able to be manufactured with the limited time and resources we have. That's, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Jen, you want to go next?
Sure.
Okay.
I would say we're exactly where we are right now, and that's an okay place. But sometimes we are in, we restrict our vision to the game industry, whereas I think that in the world of so many avenues and in a world of direct sales and in the internet age, I think we should focus on the 99 more. And there's just so many choices. If we picked a path and you stay on a path, even if that path may not feel good at the moment, you just keep on going, I think we'd probably learn more. And I think it's kind of my brain was, oh, I don't have a Gen Con plan right now, instead of, do I really need a Gen Con plan?
Sure.
Can I take that money and can I put those marketing dollars into something else that might hit a totally new audience who would really, really enjoy our game?
Would you say your limitation then is a certain amount of uncertainty about what is the right way to go?
Yeah, I think it's just, it's like with any business owner, you have to really pretend that you have a lot of good, clear thinking and really own it, whether or not you feel in your gut at the end of the night, that's where you go, but you just have to go on that path. And I think right now I'm just kind of, me as a business owner, I have like one more month where I can hem and haw about what the rest of my marketing dollars for the year are going, and I have to choose that path. So right now I know that I'm like, all right, what's your plan, Jen? What's your plan? And just go for it. So.
Max?
I think so. I'm involved in just all these different projects and companies, and they all I've been through them at different life stages, and I think things kind of bottleneck or plateau depending on where you are. The beginning of a project, money is the big bottleneck. Literally, not everyone's sitting there and we're like, okay, we need you to make copies at FedEx, who has cash, and then you're literally people are writing down, I spent $4 at FedEx and I need to be reimbursed. That's that's a huge bottleneck. And then if the life cycle of my projects then usually hit a Kickstarter, or the game is sort of successful or not successful, and then the bottleneck just becomes time, and then eventually I guess you die.
Okay.
And then you die.
I'm gonna insert before Christopher answers. I just don't want your answer though, but I haven't yet heard organization. You haven't figured out how to do it all more efficiently or anything like that. Is that a challenge?
Well, we're all responsible for that, so I don't think anyone's going to cop to that as the problem. It's actually the
problem is me.
The bottleneck is my personal ineptitude.
I keep Costa saying it. I mean,
Next stole my answer.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'm really glad that Andy gave me so much time to think about this, because when it comes down to it, the bottleneck in Greater Than Games is Christopher Fidel. That's me. It is any of the delays. So we started the company because I wrote a game, and that game continues to be our biggest and best-selling game. We have other games that we've done, including several that I have written. I've got 8 more games that I'm currently working on, as well as the design of the first one. So that's all me as a game designer. I'm also developing several other games we're doing and editing everything we put out. And I also make a significant portion of the business decisions. My business partner, Paul, and I run the company. And every time we hire a person, it's a person who's doing a part of Christopher's job. I used to do all the graphic design and layout for all of our stuff, and now we have a person for that, and she's way better at it than I am. I used to pack and ship all of the games and do all the warehousing things, and now we have a warehouse manager, and she's way better at it than I am. And so eventually, we're just going to hire people to do all the things that I do, and they're going to be way better at it than me, and I'm going to just disappear into nothingness. But right now, the bottleneck, the unsurprised. That's fine. I'm looking forward to that.
I think one of us was hiring someone to answer emails that wasn't me, and when we found out that we weren't telling our customers to go fuck themselves as often, we were like, like, wow, like things are so much easier now.
All right, so I'm gonna pivot to one big question that we're gonna get answers from everybody, and then we're gonna do some questions from the audience. We've got less than 20 minutes. I do want to share the fact that I have seen the original warehouse that Greater Than Games was in, that Christopher ran around at many levels. And yeah, you don't want your creative person to also be grabbing all the boxes to put in containers if you don't have to. Okay, so we touched on this earlier. What's the best way to get the word out? You've got a game, you want to sell it.
Make a good game.
But Jen raised her hand, and she gets props for that and gets to answer.
I try to be compliant even when I think of that when the first time that there's an idea for the game is, who is this game for and why are we making it? And if you're always thinking of that in concert with the development of the game, then how you get the game out is a lot easier.
Okay, because you've got a clear idea of who you're trying to sell it to.
Yeah, your why and your who.
But I also want to get into some specifics of this industry. What works in this industry?
You have to build that up.
I don't like that question.
Okay, so tell me why it's a bad question.
The reason that my first game that I ever sold worked is because I wasn't part of the industry. I didn't know anything about the industry. I wrote a game from a terrible blind spot, and a lot of people that were industry heavy people saw it and went, "Oh, you do this and this and this wrong." And then I have no complaints like that. Sentinels: The Multiverse is doing just fine still.
All right, so I'll flip the question. What has worked for your company?
I think it depends on the type of game, and there's so many different, in my early years in this industry, I worked on a game that has now sold millions of copies worldwide, and it was a nothing game that was like rejected by and hated by James. I love it. They're always in the audience when I talk about this game. But anyway,
and I can
it's
tell
a
you
little
what I
bit-
actually think, but your opinion of my opinion is fine.
It was a game that was rejected by many game companies when it was submitted, and then the game company, I saw it, and I was like, we have to make this game. And it's a game called Kilograms and the Quest for the Magic Carrot. And it's such a weird thing, and the way that we sold it, and the way we got its attention was, and this is like 20 years ago almost, we would do guerrilla marketing where we made promo cards. It was before promo cards for games like this really were the norm, because now everybody's doing that. And we made them super funny, and we would hand them out and like attack people in the aisles at different game conventions. And they'd be like, oh my God, this is hilarious, and then what a weird name. And then all of a sudden, but that wouldn't work for like a high strategy level, like Euro, German style board game at all. Like,
And those
so,
also work.
yeah, I mean, and so, but what works for those types of games are, it has to be a really great game, and then word of mouth, and you get reviews and, people talking about it on Board Game Geek and things like that. I don't know, what works, it just
Sure,
depends.
yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
It does really,
Okay.
and I'm just thinking, like, Wizards of the Coast, they drove down the coast in a van with Magic the Gathering and stopped at every game store they could find,
Yeah.
and just played the game with people.
That's what we did
And
with
that's
Sentinels.
where Magic got its thing.
So, a possibly related question then, to move on from this. I'm not sure everybody here knows just how much events like Gen Con are business events. They're not just places where people do the games. So, touch on what conventions mean to you in terms of your business.
Exposure.
I mean, Gen Con specifically, or?
No, not Gen Con. I mean, it could be other. Events.
Everything from Gen Con, which is huge, to this boat, which is comparatively to any other convention I go to, tiny. Exposure at various levels. The word exposure is really flexible, and I'm taking advantage of that right now.
Oh.
But exposure to individuals, there's certain shows that I go to that are specifically for exposure to distributors or retailers. But it's just a matter of like, A, is your game any good? If not, stop, go back to the beginning until you have something that's worth showing people. B, show as many people that thing.
Okay. Any other?
And
I go drink in bars with other
Drink in
business
bars.
people.
So networking,
networking is really
Yeah, I'm sorry,
important.
this is a very
Yeah.
leading the panel question. right? But-
Marketing is a big thing for that, because people, I mean, you go to Gen Con and you're selling your game, so most people view it as a direct retail channel for game companies that they normally don't have, because a lot of times they're in distribution and whatever. So this is your time to get your full retail markup. But honestly, with the number of units you can really bring in, and the expense of getting those booths and the hotel rooms for everybody that's managing that, it's all marketing expense. It's kind of a wash. I mean, I don't care if you sell 100 units or you sell 10,000 units at the show. Based on scale of how many people you need to bring out for those
So
various
the
amounts.
point of the show is not the sales at the show.
It's getting the word out face to face with direct consumers, making sure they love the game, playing it with them, having them tell their friends, and hopefully going to their local game store and asking for it, and then they're placing bigger orders.
I think one thing too is the reaction, seeing people's live reaction, and seeing what their reaction is, verbally and non-verbally, to the thing that you say about your game. So I stood at the door at PAX West, and we're demoing our game Illumat, and I tried out what's the words that I get people's eyes up and physically they go to the next step. Because I want to use that on my website, I want to use that, you know, because I know and I've seen, and I know what didn't work, and people go, meh, or like, what? Or things that I've assumed, and I can physically see that, and that was really important. And hearing what other people say about your game, and then you can kind of translate that into other audiences and channels is really good.
Cards Against Humanity, they have done more in terms of marketing than anybody I've ever seen. Is there anything you want to add to this?
I think if you're, I mean, I'm assuming, well, I mean, other than James excluded, like most of the people in the audience are kind of trying to break into the industry, interested in making an indie game, going on Kickstarter.
I didn't come here to be excluded, man.
Actually, let me ask that question.
Yeah.
How many people are here more like me just from curiosity and have no interest in being in the game industry?
Nice.
Okay. And how many people here, thanks James, how many people here are kind of like, yeah, I might want to be in the game industry one day? Okay.
Yes.
Is there anybody who didn't raise their hand to either? Okay.
Why are you
Is
here?
that uncertainty or some other reason to be here?
That's my daughter.
I know. They're here for other.
Max, what?
In my case, it's I have an LLC that has been an unsuccessful non-failure. So
Okay.
it's kind of having that toe in and
All right.
yeah.
And Andy A, since you have such a great first name and initial.
Oh, thank you. I don't think there's a problem.
Thanks.
I'm in the industry already, in the
Okay.
very shallow end of it,
Right.
but it's always good to get more
Okay,
information.
great.
Yeah.
So in terms of like conventions, as it pertains to pretty much everyone in this room, go by yourself or like with a friend. Bring a copy of your game. Sit at a table in like the cafe or like in a coffee shop near the convention center if you can't get a badge or don't want to get a badge, and just play the game with people the whole weekend. And you'll get about 80% of the benefit of spending $100,000 on things on the floor, which is word will get out. You'll get the feedback you need or whatever. But other than that, and then you can go drink with game designers or whatever. Other than that, conventions are a big fucking waste of your time and money, and you shouldn't do them, except for self-indulgent purposes, or you know, like I think some people have a certain like jujitsu if they know how to like get gaming press or however that works. But like, it's like it doesn't matter. It's such a the world of Gen Con. Even if you're like king shit of fuck mountain at Gen Con, it's so small. It's just incomprehensibly. It's such a
Yes,
small.
this follows what you're saying
It's
before.
so
There's a
small
ton
and
of people
provincial.
beyond. who
Yeah, and
do Gen
you can literally spend your whole life just dealing with Gen Con. You know what I mean? It's like an outsized amount of time and money to do these things versus like what it can do for you.
So I'm going to get to my third question of my final question,
Okay.
which is the future, right? It's the future now, or it's going to be soon, right? So I'm going to layer into this. There's been a lot of mergers, or at least there's been some mergers. There's at least one company out there is buying up another company. So kind of lightning round. What's your reaction? What is changing in the industry? What do you see coming?
We're in a bubble.
We're in a bubble.
Yeah. And you know what happened to those?
They tend to burst, right? So you think there's going to be a shakeout, and a lot of people maybe not going to make it after a little while.
Yeah, like we're talking about the fact that right now there's like hundreds of tiny companies that aren't real companies that are like making a little thing, and then like those can't survive outside of bubble.
Okay, so we're in a bubble. Who's ready?
Fight me.
I think we're out, I mean, everyone's always in a bubble. I mean, we're just, it's just the modern age of, we've got like a 10-year cycle of different, types of things that are hot, and then they merge over, and we just figure it out.
Okay.
I don't know, that's just kind of how I go through life.
Enough to like fight against Hasbro or something.
Yeah.
Some people are gonna try to-
I kind of look at it as
So
like.
wait, Karen, do you think there's going to be a company that gets big enough?
Yeah, Asmodee is already fighting against
Yeah,
Hasbro.
they're fighting Hasbro.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
before it was just, there was like Hasbro, and now it's like Hasbro and Asmodee.
Yeah, Asmodee should pick up Paizo, and like,
Okay.
that would be fun.
Yeah.
Thoughts about the future?
I think late stage capitalism makes people very alienated in general, and we're in an era of terrible anxiety and loneliness. And board games are, regardless of what's going on with the game, board games are this reason for people to come together in a sort of analog, personal way. And the more if capitalism continues to alienate, late stage capitalism continues to be as awful as it is and alienate people and destroy the world, games will continue to do well. So I'm feeling very good about games.
Okay.
I just think of it as like, maybe I'll go have a day job again at some point, and that's just kind of how I look at things, not like from a perspective of an industry, because we are purposely always going to be a micro company, and that's just the way it is, and we'll make things when we want to make them, and to the audience that is available for it. And if that means Keith does more other work and I do side work, that's what we do, because it's what we want to do, and we try to stay out of thinking about other larger, smaller, getting bigger things.
Okay. Fair enough. Did you want to add anything?
I agree with I agree with everybody actually.
Okay.
But I agree that we are in a bubble, and the smaller, when I say smaller game companies, I don't mean legit 5-year whatever.
Smaller game club,
Yeah.
I'm talking about people who are designers that shouldn't be manufacturing their own game and should be just licensing their games, making game. I think those are going to fall out, and if we're going to go back to about 20 years ago, the system that was in place, the scale of the industry that was in place, but I don't think board gaming is going anywhere, because I do agree with Max completely.
I got to cut you off. I'm not sure we have time for a question unless somebody has a question they think people can answer.
We'll only accept one-word lightning round of questions.
Yeah,
Go.
let's do it.
You have an idea. So you're confident? This is a good question.
Yes.
You're
Go for it.
Waste your time, Andy. Go.
All right,
Yes.
go. What is it?
Technology. I've seen projects on Kickstarter that use things like tablets or smartphones to try and make tabletop gaming more than just paper. Do you see that going anywhere?
Sure. Start here. We'll go down the line. Go.
I'm not big on that, go
Okay.
ahead.
It'll work for some. It won't work for others. It's a niche within a niche.
Agreed.
It's a design choice of how you want, what's the world you're setting up for people on a table.
It sucks.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I very much appreciate it.